The deal with watches is that they're not just timekeeping instruments, they're also collectibles, some rarer than others. As with all collectibles, some pieces are so rare that they're immaculate. Imagine a watch so rare that even the most seasoned collectors have never seen it. Much like the mythical creature itself, the unicorn Daytona is a rare sight. This is the holy grail of timepieces, a one-of-a-kind masterpiece that has eluded almost everyone. Crafted from platinum and featuring a stunning lapis lazuli dial, this watch is practically impossible to find. Today, I'll tell you why this Rolex is so incredibly difficult to get your hands on. Ready to uncover the mystery of the Rolex Daytona Unicorn? Let's dive in. A walk through history. The Rolex Daytona has always been a symbol of prestige and performance, originally designed for professional racing drivers. But the Unicorn, reference 6265, takes exclusivity to a whole new level. This watch is unique because it's the only known example of a vintage Daytona in this configuration. So, how did this mythical timepiece come to be? Launched in 1963, the Daytona was designed as a robust mechanical chronograph, meant to be worn and used every day. The vast majority were therefore made in stainless steel, which is a little more forgiving than gold when it finds itself on the receiving end of life's little knocks. According to the Phillips press release, quote, Rolex made plenty of watches in white gold during the 1970s. Or, to be more precise, Rolex made plenty of white gold day dates back then. The use of white gold in the production of the day date shouldn't come as a surprise. This was then the company's most glamorous model, after all, so the use of precious metals, including yellow, pink, white gold, and platinum, seemed logical. The decision to use that same metal for a sports watch is a little more surprising. Crafted in 1970 and delivered in 1971 to a German retailer, this particular watch shattered the boundaries of expectation. It is believed that a special order was placed by an incredibly wealthy and exclusive client, convincing Rolex to stray from its established norms. Rolex's strict policies and meticulous records mean that creating such a bespoke piece required significant influence and resources. Despite manufacturing numerous watches in white gold during the 1970s, they were predominantly day dates, making the creation of a white gold manual winding Daytona all the more exceptional. The white gold, reference 6265, remained a hidden gem for decades, residing in the private collection of renowned collector John Goldberger. Goldberger unveiled his prized possession to the world, stunning enthusiasts and experts alike with the revelation of this horological marvel. This unveiling caused a sensation in the watch community. Now, while Goldberger initially declared that the Daytona would never be for sale due to its irreplaceable status, he eventually changed his mind, setting the stage for one of the most anticipated auctions in horological history. Watch specifications. The Unicorn Daytona is the king of all Daytonas. This remarkable piece exhibits a 37mm 18-karat white gold case and white gold bezel. The black dial features white gold baton hour markers and 3 subdials that feature the seconds, minutes, and hours of elapsed time once the chronograph function is active. The timepiece also features the famous Sigma dial. This particular dial's design includes the oddly placed Greek letters next to the Swiss label at the bottom of the dial. The Unicorn is noticeably in great condition. The case hallmark is even clearly visible near the lugs. One very unusual feature of the watch is the crown, which appears to be a dissimilar color to the case. The odd tint is a result of the crown being made from steel and not white gold. We aren't too sure why Rolex did this, but it makes the Unicorn all the more mysterious. The outstanding creation sports a bark-finished white gold bracelet. Although not the original, it is an original Rolex bracelet and complements the white gold case perfectly. The lapis lazuli dial is not just beautiful, it's exceptionally rare. Lapis lazuli is a deep blue metamorphic rock prized for its intense color and historical significance. Pairing this with a platinum case, a material Rolex rarely used for Daytonas, creates a combination that's as striking as it is unique. Condition of the timepiece. Does condition matter when a watch is unique? Technically speaking, a watch that cannot be compared is simultaneously the best and worst version of that particular watch, and there's little point debating where it falls on that particular spectrum. But in the case of this reference 6265, it quite clearly falls closer to the former. The case is preserved in excellent condition, with strong and crisp hallmarks on the bottom of the lugs. The dial is also in great condition, with very little signs of aging or tarnishing. The bracelet, which is also white gold, is not the bracelet that originally came with the watch. It was added by Goldberger in place of a leather strap, and comes from a white gold reference 1507 oyster date. It fits the piece well, is correct for the period, and adds some gravitas to the watch. Since there is no other white gold Daytona model, it is impossible to say which bracelet the watch was delivered with in 1971. The crown, which is a different color to the case and pushers, is made from stainless steel, not gold. How did the unicorn make it to auction? John Goldberger rarely ever speaks of his collection, but it is no secret that the white gold 6265 has resided in his private collection for many years now. Every watch collector out there is either envious of Goldberger for having owned such an incredibly rare wristwatch, or baffled as to why he would sell such an elusive piece. When asked why he would even contemplate selling the unicorn, he stated, quote, "It's important to help those who are less fortunate." Goldberger declared that he'd donate all proceeds from the sale to Children's Action, a children's charity based in Geneva dedicated to supporting those in need. Goldberger says that he woke up one day and realized that this watch, which had been the source of so much personal joy, should have a much wider impact on the world. "I like to discover previously unknown watches," said Goldberger. "The search for these pieces is the most enjoyable part of purchasing a new watch." The secondary market for this watch is a battleground of the affluent, where prices soar to astronomical heights, and every bid is a heartbeat away from making history. Phillips hoped to sell the timepiece for more than $3 million when it hit the auction block. Collectors were willing to pay a fortune, not just for ownership, but for the bragging rights that come with possessing such a legendary timepiece. But with great rarity comes great responsibility. Verifying the authenticity of the Rolex Daytona unicorn is a challenge in itself. Every scratch and every detail is scrutinized under the watchful eyes of experts, because when dealing with a masterpiece of this caliber, there's no room for error. Phillips' big Rolex Daytona sale of 2018. Concluded on May 12, 2018, Phillips, in association with Bax and Russo, completed the much-anticipated Daytona Ultimatum sale in Geneva. The mythical unicorn Rolex Daytona reference 6265 closed the sale at a remarkable $5.9 million US, knocking the Rolex reference 6062 Baudai out of its position, as the former took the status of the second most expensive Rolex watch to be sold publicly. It is truly a holy grail piece, the only manually wound vintage Rolex Daytona made in white gold, said Paul Boutros of Phillips in association with Bax and Russo. While the Paul Newman Daytona still currently holds the record for the most expensive Rolex wristwatch ever sold at auction, the Unicorn Daytona blew way past the estimates that Phillips had initially hoped for. The auction came at a unique period of time in the industry where vintage watch values were taking off. The last time there was a $1 million Daytona was in 2013 during the Daytona-themed sale of Christie's Rolex Daytona Lesson 1. What takes the cake is that this is for a good cause. Phillips offered a total of 32 Rolex Cosmograph Daytonas in the Daytona Ultimatum auction, curated by renowned watch scholar Pietri Papaleo. All of the watches offered were sold, and the combined total achieved by the 32 pieces was $22.2 million. In total, 5 Daytona watches cleared the $1 million mark, 4 of which were made in stainless steel. Phillips said this result can be attributed to both their rarity and the fine craftsmanship inherent in these timepieces. The sale of the mythical unicorn Daytona has marked a historic moment in the world of horology. With its unprecedented rarity and impeccable craftsmanship, this timepiece has captured the imagination of collectors worldwide. As vintage watch values continue to soar, the legacy of the unicorn Daytona will undoubtedly endure, serving as a symbol of both luxury and generosity in the realm of fine timepieces.